Hello, and I'm Team N. Close your eyes for a moment and feel the profound stillness of the night embracing everything. The wind whispers softly in your ear like mysterious secrets, and in that deep darkness, a desolate, cold house hides among the trees. There, chilling rumors of a horrific past still linger, a broken family and restless souls unable to find peace. Tonight, we will step through that decaying door with four curious young friends to uncover the gruesome secrets hidden in every dark corner and listen to the tale of an adventure where fear will cling to them until the very end. On a damp March night, as thin mists wove their way through quiet suburban streets, four young friends, Ethan, Rem, Lucas, and Rosie, decided to embark on a perilous adventure. These youthful souls, craving thrilling experiences, chose an abandoned house hidden deep in a nearby forest as their destination. The house carried a dark past, rumored to have been home to a cruel abuser who lived there with his wife and their unfortunate children. That night, Ethan's old Jeep slowly rumbled along a muddy dirt road, its headlights piercing the dense darkness, illuminating ancient, gnarled trees like skeletal figures. The air in the car was thick with anticipation, mixed with a hint of fear. When they arrived, the house loomed before them, standing like an old monstrous beast in the night. Its shattered windows gaped like empty eye sockets, and patches of peeling paint resembled deep scars of time. "Well, it looks even scarier than I imagined," Lucas muttered, his voice a mix of excitement and apprehension. Ethan, at the wheel, turned off the engine. The sudden silence was chilling, broken only by the wind whistling through gaps in the roof and the rustling leaves. Like ghostly whispers, a sudden, biting cold enveloped them. Despite the mild outdoor temperature, the chill was not just on their skin, but seeped deep into their bones. The main door of the dilapidated house hung precariously on a single hinge. When Ethan gently pushed it, it groaned like a pained sigh, revealing a dark and suffocating interior. The house was filled with old furniture, piled in chaotic heaps from floor to ceiling. Dust clung to everything, so thick that every step they took left a clear mark. Each item, from tattered upholstered chairs to rotting wooden cabinets, seemed to hold its own story, a heavy burden from the past. "Oh my God, look at this mess," Rosie exclaimed, her eyes wide with astonishment. As she squeezed past a pile of debris, an earring she wore, though securely fastened, suddenly fell off, rolling across the cluttered floor. She bent down to pick it up, a flicker of unease in her eyes. They decided to split up to explore. Ethan and Rem headed upstairs, while Lucas and Rosie remained on the ground floor. Ethan moved cautiously, trying to navigate around the jumbled obstacles on the floor. He felt as if he was walking through a maze, where the rooms seemed to constantly shift their positions. Despite his efforts to orient himself, he got lost again and again, a feeling of frustration mixed with bewilderment. Rem, his companion, silently followed behind him, his eyes scanning every dark corner. Finally, Ethan found his way to the attic, with Rem close behind. The attic was dark, dusty, and stifling. The air here was thick with a musty, old smell, as if time itself had been compressed into this space. The floor was covered with old photographs, hundreds of black and white prints scattered about, still intact despite the passage of years. Ethan, who enjoyed collecting old portraits, couldn't resist his curiosity. He knelt down, beginning to flip through the photos. His eyes scanned unfamiliar faces, moments forgotten by time. Suddenly, one photograph drew his attention powerfully. It was a picture of a child. The child's eyes in the photo, though faded with age, locked onto Ethan's, creating a strange sensation, like an electrical current running down his spine. Immediately, an intense presence filled the room. The air grew heavier, and both Ethan and Rem felt a strange energy, as if a toddler was running around the room, their tiny, invisible footsteps remarkably clear in their minds. Both had a shared vision, an image of a playful child, their giggles echoing in their heads. Even though there was no actual sound, a shiver ran down Ethan's spine. He stood up abruptly, and without a word, he and Rem rushed down the stairs, leaving the gloomy attic behind. As they reached the main floor, at the foot of the stairs, something strange and inexplicable happened. Tears began to stream down Ethan's face, uncontrollably. He had no idea why. He wasn't feeling emotional or frightened enough to cry. Yet, the tears kept falling beyond his control. He tried to move away from that spot to find his other friends. And as soon as he moved, the tears on his face mysteriously evaporated, as if they had never been there. However, when Ethan returned to the exact spot where he had stood before, the tears began to fall uncontrollably again. He tried moving back and forth, and each time he stepped back to that spot, he would inexplicably sob. Each time he left, his tears vanished. He felt an invisible presence linked to that very spot. In Ethan's mind, the face of a woman began to emerge clearly. Long black hair, mournful eyes, and a face etched with pain. He sensed a powerful and tragic energy from this woman, connected to where he stood. Something terrible, an unspeakable tragedy, had happened right there. Ethan finally found Lucas and Rosie waiting in the living room area. The three decided to try another way to communicate with the spirits in the house. Lucas found an old piece of paper, a pencil, and a bowl. They placed the paper on the floor, drew a circle, and divided it into two sections, yes and no. The pencil was placed in the center of the paper, hoping that the spirits could move it to answer their questions. Lucas filled the bowl with paper and lit it, the flickering flame illuminating their tense faces. They collectively asked questions, inviting any spirits present in the house. However, the pencil remained motionless, not budging. The air in the room grew heavy, but there was no sign of a response. Lucas blew out the flame in the bowl, leaving the room plunged into darkness and an eerie silence. Suddenly, a chilling draft swept through the air, colder than any breeze they had ever felt. Ethan and Rosie simultaneously looked towards the basement door. A massive golden orb of light appeared, hovering directly in front of the door, emitting an eerie glow. From that orb, a disgusting, foul, and heavy presence spread throughout the air, suffocating the entire room. It felt like an invisible hand squeezing their lungs. Lucas's phone flashlight, which had been illuminating the room, suddenly went out. The small flame in the bowl Lucas had just lit also extinguished, without a trace of smoke. Although the house was sealed, with no drafts whatsoever, all light vanished mysteriously. Ethan's legs suddenly felt weak, unable to stand firm. A sudden, unexpected paralysis gripped him, making him unable to move. Rem, standing closest to Ethan, suddenly grabbed him and began to scream hysterically. His eyes were wide, his face pale with terror. He said he heard whispers in his ears, horrifying sounds that only he could perceive. And then, footsteps echoed behind them, as if someone was walking in the dark, getting closer and closer. Lucas, holding the bowl with the paper, felt a chilling cold run down his arm. The paper in the bowl, which had been hot just seconds before from the flame, was now ice cold. An extreme terror gripped all four of them. Without a word, they collectively bolted out of the house, leaving all their belongings behind. Rem's screams still reverberated in their ears. Ethan, with trembling legs, tried to flee from the haunted house, but when he reached the basement door, he suddenly froze. His body couldn't move, as if an invisible force was holding him tight. In that moment, another vision appeared in his mind. It was the image of the woman he had seen before, sitting on an old chair, tied up. Her cruel husband was brutally beating her. The woman's painful screams echoed in Ethan's head, the horrific cries of a soul enduring torture. "Get out! Get out!" she screamed in the vision. Her eyes filled with tears and despair, looking directly at Ethan. Her voice resonated in his mind, urging him to leave that place immediately. Ethan's paralysis suddenly vanished. He bolted out of the house, not looking back. But as he ran, a dark shadow appeared behind him. It was the woman from the vision, now looking almost demonic. Her hair was disheveled, her face contorted with hatred, and her teeth were bared menacingly. She chased Ethan, her heavy footsteps echoing behind him. Ethan leaped into his Jeep, slamming the door shut with force. She, with her devilish face, pounded on the car door, her eyes bloodshot and a growl emanating from her throat. She wanted in. She wanted inside the car. Lucas quickly started the engine, and the Jeep sped off into the night, leaving the haunted house behind. But even as the car drove away, Ethan still felt a chilling presence beside him. The woman was in the car. She had been in his car ever since. She haunted him, never leaving. And his Jeep now was no longer truly his own. The belongings they had taken from the house, Ethan still kept them in the car. He couldn't bring himself to throw them away. They were part of this haunting. Since that fateful night, the abandoned house was no longer just a curious destination, but a persistent haunting, an indelible scar on Ethan's soul. Every dream brought him back to the dusty attic, where the child's eyes in the black and white photo still stared unblinkingly, or the horrifying moment at the foot of the stairs, where causeless tears flowed like a warning from a tormented spirit. The image of the dark-haired woman, with her sorrowful eyes and the chilling cry of, "Get out," still existed in his mind, sometimes appearing abruptly right beside him, a cold reminder that she had never truly left. Lucas, with his inexplicable fascination, still dreamed of renovating the house, making it his home, as if he could tame the spirits that once resided there. Rosie, after experiencing moments of paralyzing terror, had completely changed her perspective, transforming from a skeptic into a firm believer in the spiritual world. As for Rem, fear had seeped deep into his bones, preventing him from ever wishing to set foot near that place again, even a single step. Each time the nightmare recurred, he shivered. The adventure in search of thrills had ended with an inescapable haunting. The house, though perhaps physically cleansed, remained intact in Ethan's memory, a story that never truly ended. He knew he would have to live with it, with the visions and the invisible energy of that woman, forever. It was no longer just a ghost story to tell, but an inseparable part of his own life. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe to TN Shadow Stories so you don't miss our next chilling tales. See you in the next video.